Hello everybody, and welcome to the too long didn't read version of Rapunzel. So basically, you have this man and wife that are living right next door to a well-known and feared enchantress. Why they're even doing that, I have no idea. The husband and wife have been trying to have a child for which they have not had any success for many years. In the meantime, the enchantress was growing this rampion, or Rapunzel, in her garden. Upon seeing this, the wife turns into such a drama queen that she tells her husband, "If I do not eat some, I shall surely die." The husband, buying into her drama, decides it's a really good idea to go over and steal from the most powerful enchantress in the world. He gets away with it for one night, but then the wife becomes so enamored with it after making one salad from it that she would surely die again if she didn't have more. So he decides to steal from the enchantress again, only this time he gets caught. The enchantress is ready to smite him right then and there, but the man explains how much of a drama queen his wife is, and the witch decides, "You know what, I'll let you go and have as much of my rampion as you like, but you have to give me your firstborn daughter." The man is so desperate to escape any punishment for any of his crimes that he literally agrees to anything that she demands. Well, it comes to pass that the man and woman actually do end up having a child, and the witch, having immediate baby radar, shows up, names her, and whisks her away. She puts her in a tower with no doors or windows, and the only way she can get up is by calling out to her, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." To which apparently she already had long enough hair even when she was a tiny child? It's never quite made clear to us. And the child of course grew up beautiful, as all fairy tale children do. Rapunzel, throughout the years, who is often left in solitude, decides that the best way to alleviate her loneliness is by singing. Well, one day, the prince hears this lovely singing from Rapunzel, and he wants to get up to her, but there's no doors or windows to the place. He gives up immediately and goes back home. But the voice was so soothing and rich that he needed to come back and see her again. So he goes back to her night after night until eventually, after a while, he sees the enchantress saying, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." The prince finally figuring out this is an option because apparently in none of his time could he ever go, "Hey, you up there!" So he cries out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And she, being oblivious to the difference between a man and a woman's voice, lets down her hair, he climbs up, and then she's so surprised to see a prince there. The prince proposes to her right on the spot, and Rapunzel agrees immediately because he's young and handsome. So Rapunzel is immediately ready to ditch the tower, but she tells him, "I can't get down from here." So Rapunzel requests the prince to bring with him a skein of silk every time he goes to see her, because apparently the prince bringing with him a rope ladder was just too much common sense for either one of them to figure out. So they do this night after night until Rapunzel blows their own cover by telling the enchantress, how come a prince is so much easier to bring up a tower than you?" Upon receiving the most #rude comment, she whacks off her hair and sends her away to a desert. She keeps the hair knowing the prince is going to come back for Rapunzel. The prince calls out for Rapunzel, and the enchantress lets down the fake hair, and he immediately climbs up it. However, it's his turn to be surprised now because he's face to face with the enchantress. The enchantress basically just mocks him a little and says, "Oh yeah, I took Rapunzel away, and you'll never see her again." The prince, like everybody else in the story, is such a drama queen that he leaps from the window. However, he survives the fall, so the tower must not have been that high to begin with. He does, however, pierce both of his eyes. He is in such grief and misery that he wanders the world for years eating nothing but roots and berries, and got very lucky that none of them were poisoned. Anyways, he goes on surviving this way for many years until eventually he runs into the desert in which Rapunzel was banished. Well, it turns out in the very short time that Rapunzel and the prince actually knew each other, she and the prince had already gotten jiggy with it, and now she had two twins which she was raising all the way out in the desert, which apparently she was probably also doing on roots and berries. Upon seeing him, she cries into his eyes, and magically they became healed. The prince then returned to his kingdom, which they got married and lived happily and contented, because apparently nobody at the kingdom ever sent out any search party looking for their missing prince for these many years. The end. Thank you so much for joining us on this too long didn't read version of Rapunzel. If you haven't already, please watch the previous video in which Chip and I read the story of Rapunzel together. The link to it is in the description below. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel, especially if you want to hear more stories. And don't forget to click the little bell icon. That'll help you get notified whenever we release a new video. Until next story time, see you!